Hello everyone, welcome to another video tutorial from my channel. Today we will discuss about a very interesting and important topic, which is UV visible spectroscopy. In this video we will study the principle, how it works and the application of the technique. UV visible spectroscopy. So firstly we have to know what is spectroscopy. Spectroscopy is a technique where we find the interaction between matter and electromagnetic radiation. Matter may be ions, molecules or atoms under study. The matter is any kind of biological molecule, whatever the chemical nature of it is, such as protein, DNA, RNA, etc. The electromagnetic radiation is a kind of wave which shows both the electric and magnetic properties, as for example gamma rays, X-rays and UV rays. This technique employ light tends to interact with matter and exhibit some features of a sample to know how much about its consistency or structure. The nature of the interactions in spectroscopic techniques between radiation and matter may include absorption, emission or scattering. In case of UV visible spectroscopy, the electromagnetic radiation used is UV visible light. Here we will consider the protein molecule as the matter of study, although any molecule can be used. When we arrange the electromagnetic radiations on the basis of their wavelength, we get a spectrum. This spectrum is called as electromagnetic spectrum. In this arrangement or spectrum, the radiation of shortest wavelength is the gamma ray and it is arranged firstly. The radiation of longest wavelength is the radio wave, which comes in last. As the gamma ray is one of the shortest wavelength, it has the maximum energy. The longest wave in the spectrum, that is radio wave, has the minimum energy. I think the topic up to this segment is clear to you. Now let's see the instrumentation of the technique. If we consider the instrumentation of the spectroscopy, firstly we will focus on the light source. Here the lamp or light produces the light of 200 to 800 nanometer of wavelength, and this range of wavelength is similar to the wavelength of UV visible light, in which 200 to 400 nanometer specifies the UV light and 400 to 800 nanometer is the wavelength of visible light, which is visible through the naked eyes to us. The second component is the monochromator, which is basically consists of one prism and two slits. The light from the lamp enters into the monochromator through the first slit. The role of the first slit is to fall the upcoming photon particles parallelly on the surface of the prism. Prism then separates the polychromatic light into various light rays of different wavelength. After passing through the prism, the light of a specific wavelength moves out through the second slit. Now the light emerging from the second slit is divided into two rays of equal wavelength. The first ray enters into the reference cell. A reference cell is a cuvette which is made up of glass or quartz, and blank sample or buffer solution is kept in it. As there is buffer solution, so no light will be absorbed, and the same wavelength of light, that is I0, will be transmitted from the reference cell. The second ray, that is also I0, will fall on the cuvette which has the sample solution. Say for example, if protein is present in the sample cell, it will absorb the light. The pi electrons present in the aromatic amino acids such as tyrosine, tryptophan of the protein will absorb the UV light. After absorbing the energy from the UV light, the electrons of the aromatic amino acids will move from the lower to higher energy state. So the light which will pass out from the sample cell will be of lesser intensity, that is I, and I is lesser than the I0. So this absorption depends basically on two factors, and this is the law proposed by Beer and Lambert. According to this law, concentration of the sample is increased, then absorption will be greater, and if the path length of the cuvette is longer, absorbance will be more. So the absorbance depends on two factors. The first one is the concentration of the sample, and the second one is the light path of the cuvette. Now the next component of the instrument is the detector, which calculates the ratio of both the transmitted light emerged from the reference cell and the sample cell. Then the value will be sent to the recorder. Then recorder generates a reading in the form of the absorbance. Observing this reading or value, we can interpret the concentration of the sample and the absorbance value. Now it is clear to us that detector detects the transmittance, but recorder gives the value of absorbance. So my question is, how the value of transmittance is converted into the absorbance value? This is the mathematical derivation is following. We can find from the curve that with increasing concentration of the sample, transmittance will decrease exponentially. So what is the relation between the absorbance and transmittance? We know absorbance is log value of 1 by T. From the first curve we get, if the concentration of the sample is increased, then the absorbance will be more. So we can calculate the concentration of the sample from the absorbance value, and this type of spectroscopy is called as quantitative UV visible spectroscopy, because it finds the quantity or concentration of the sample. The second graph or the last graph shows the relation between the absorbance and wavelength. If we interpret the graph, we can find that maximum wavelength, or it is called as lambda max, is that where maximum absorbance occurred. The lambda max value of protein is 280. That means protein absorb maximum light at 280 nanometer. So this kind of spectroscopy, which depends on quality or lambda max, is called as qualitative UV visible spectroscopy. And in this process we can assume, are there any impurities present with protein or not. Thanks for watching the video, and this is the basic principle and procedure of spectroscopy technique. I hope you have enjoyed it and the topic is now clear to you. If you like the video, please give a quick thumbs up and don't forget to share and subscribe my channel.